The U.S. says talks between Israel and Lebanon are moving forward. That meeting between the Israeli and Lebanese ambassadors to the U.S. in Washington was aimed at launching more formal negotiations between the two sides. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio called it a historic opportunity, but made it clear no breakthrough agreement will happen right away. Well, for the latest on those talks, let's bring on our Washington correspondent, Fraser Jackson. Fraser, what more can you tell us about what was decided on Tuesday?
Well, there wasn't really much substantive that came out of the talks between Israel and Lebanon being mediated by the United States here in Washington, but it was a symbolic meeting, the first time that the two sides had really sat down and met properly in decades, and it is the first step on a long path towards what both sides hope will be some kind of peace deal. Now, I think the interesting thing was that in the statement that was released afterwards by the spokesperson for the State Department, Tommy Pigott, there was still a bit of a gap between the two sides. Israel said that it was looking for that kind of security agreement. Of course, they want to create some kind of buffer zone on that northern border and in southern Lebanon to stop these attacks from taking place from Hezbollah into Israel. But of course, many Lebanese are worried about that, effectively being a rerun of history and worried about how long a security buffer zone there would last if there was some kind of peace deal. And of course, Lebanon is hoping that this will be the start of some kind of ceasefire deal between Israel and Lebanon. But Israel did not agree to a ceasefire deal between the two countries, at least not yet, and at least not in these talks. And the other key player who is missing from these talks are the people that Israel is actually at war with, Hezbollah. They said that they would not abide by anything that came out of these talks, and effectively the Lebanese government is kind of powerless to actually stop them from attacking Israel. They don't have any sway or control over Hezbollah. So many were actually even questioning the effectiveness of these talks. But nevertheless, a significant step and a first step for more talks to be held down the road, potentially even high-level talks between the leaders or foreign ministers of those two countries in the coming weeks and months.
Right, and this is all coming as there's still that standoff in the Strait of Hormuz between the U.S. and Iran, where there have been some new developments as well.
Yeah, the U.S. has its naval blockades in place now. The U.S. CENTCOM, who is controlling the U.S. Army in that part of the world, in the Middle East, said that effectively all economic ties from the sea to Iran have been cut off. We know that at least 6 ships have been intercepted leaving Iranian ports and turned around by CENTCOM and by U.S. vessels. But of course, this is a part of Donald Trump's tactic to try to get Iran back to the negotiating table. The ceasefire deal that the US has with Iran is expiring on the 21st of April, and it's hoped that there will be some time for some more talks before that window expires. Donald Trump says it could be in the next couple of days. Pakistani officials have said it could be by the end of the week, if not into the beginning of next week. And now there's some fresh reporting from the Associated Press as well that says that Pakistani officials have said to the AP that both sides have given tentative agreements to prolong that ceasefire agreement as well. We've not had any official word on that from the White House or from the Iranian side at the moment, but it appears that there is still room for diplomatic negotiations here, despite the fact that those talks at the first time around didn't bear any fruit, and it was widely seen as something which had needed a lot more work to be done on it before the end of this war. There are still vast differences between the US position and the Iranian position at the moment, but the US believes that that difference can be bridged in the next couple of days, and a deal can be made either before this ceasefire agreement expires on the 21st, or if it does indeed get extended a couple of days later by this new agreement that the Pakistanis are trying to broker.
Fraser, thank you for that. France 24's Washington correspondent, Fraser Jackson.